and see what the Power Hour people think, see what kind of conclusions we can get. Like, share, subscribe. I'm going to talk a little bit about Bill Cosby because of the hypocrisy of the man. Bill Cosby became famous back in the 60s, I think, maybe the 70s. I'm going to go with the early 70s, as a kind of family-friendly comedian. All his comedy was like about the family and kids and going to the park and what's funny about that. And he did well, he was successful, and he got some serious acting roles. And then in the 80s, he had a program, very successful program called The Cosby Show, one of the most successful comedies of all time. And he was Bill Huxtable. And they were a very affluent black American family, which was important at the time for lots of reasons. And he became known as America's dad. He was constantly referred to as America's dad, so much so that he actually went on tour, basically dressing down, if you want, criticising the youth of America, especially the black youth, and especially black women, and attacking single mothers and, you know, the immorality of it all. And he actually lost a lot of popularity doing that. But what really antagonises me and galls me about Bill Cosby is that all this, you know, America's Dad, Cosby Show, it was all a front. It was a carefully constructed mask, a lie, a facade. And he hid behind that for decades, because what he was doing was he was getting young, hopeful actresses to come to his place, wherever he was, thinking this was their big break. And he'd say, do you want a drink? And they, of course, said, yes, please. Thank you, Mr. Cosby. And he'd turn round and drop a pill of some description into their drink, and then give them the drink. And then when they were incapacitated, he would sexually assault them and attack them. And he did this on the regular. He had 60 women confirmed. I think they've all accused him and been taken very seriously. He's actually been sent to prison for 3 counts. That doesn't mean he's only guilty of 3 crimes. It means that it's a long process to give him 60 trials, extremely expensive as well. But to create a false version of yourself and sell that on a worldwide level as a cover for who you really are, and knowingly do it so that you can attack young girls like that for decades, that's despicable. Again, though, there's no sacrifice. Oh, terrible news. I can't watch The Cosby Show. No, I just don't watch The Cosby Show anyway. So the fact that Bill Cosby's a bad man doesn't really cost me anything. I can focus purely on how much I dislike him, and how glad I am that he was caught eventually and sent to prison. So a lot of these guys, I know there's a kind of negative tone about this, but there's so much talent. If you go through the names of the people I've talked about today, these are some of the most talented people in various areas of entertainment that we've seen over the last, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years in the various areas of music and cinema. And we have to accept that many of them are terrible people, and that they are protected by this cult, or this microculture, this hive, where even if they're not directly guilty, I consider them implicated, because they facilitate the crimes of these people who are allowed to continue doing what they're doing. And I'm just going to throw a few links at you just to illustrate that. Starting with Seth Macfarlane. Who's that? Seth Macfarlane is the creator, the voice artist, and he basically is Family Guy. The American comedy series has been running for years and years. And Seth Macfarlane seems to be in the loop. He seems to know what's going on, because a few years before Harvey Weinstein was exposed, he was given an award for the Best Actress, and he had 5 nominees. And he said, "Congratulations to these 5 women. who no longer have to pretend that they are attracted to Harvey Weinstein. And everyone in the room laughed. Everyone got the joke. They all knew what he meant. This was long before the scandal. They all knew exactly what Seth MacFarlane was talking about. Harvey Weinstein is a sex pest of the worst order, right? And we all know it, and we're all having a little laugh about it with our cocktails. Despicable again. And also, in an episode of Family Guy, the baby, Stewie, he comes running through the shopping centre screaming, help, help, I've just escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement. Now, why Kevin Spacey? You could say it's only a joke. Yeah, but why did he choose Kevin Spacey? He knew. Everyone knew what Kevin Spacey was up to. And again, he was protected. Nobody said anything. Let him continue making that House of Cards propaganda. And it was only, later when it came out that people started to condemn him. But they knew for years and years what he was doing. So Seth MacFarlane knew what Kevin Spacey was. He knew what Harvey Weinstein was. And he was quite public with his jokes about it. From Seth, I'm going to jump to a woman called Mia Farrow. Now, this is interesting, and it is because I said it is. Mia Farrow is, she was an actress. But she's significant here because she was the star of Rosemary's Baby, the horror film that I mentioned earlier. She played Rosemary. And that was directed, as I said, by Roman Polanski. So Mia Farrow spent many, many days working very closely with Roman Polanski, who, as we know, was a terrible paedophile, horrible man. And Mia Farrow married Woody Allen. It was an interesting choice. Who was obviously then embroiled in many scandals, as we discussed earlier, involving children. And curiously enough, I think very curiously, they had a son called Ronan Farrow. Mia Farrow and Woody Allen had a son called Ronan Farrow, who many people actually believe to be the son of Frank Sinatra, who was Mia Farrow's ex-boyfriend, who she never stopped seeing. By her own admission, after she married Woody Allen, she continued to see Frank Sinatra, and Ronan Farrow was born and looks very much like Frank Sinatra. And he grew up to be an extraordinarily intelligent young man and a journalist. And he was the guy who exposed Harvey Weinstein. Right? He was the one who broke the Harvey Weinstein case wide open. So it's curious to me that Mia Farrow, who was closely connected with Roman Polanski and Woody Allen, gave birth to Ronan Farrow, who went back to Hollywood a few decades later and blew it apart with his expose of Harvey Weinstein and all the complicity in that. And I think I'll leave you with this final little point. Do with it whatever you want. Roman Polanski made the film Rosemary's Baby, and that's about devil worshipping and satanic churches and human sacrifices and all that. And it's terrifying. And it's called Rosemary's Baby, so the idea of a baby is central to the film. And Roman Polanski's wife, Sharon Tate, was murdered in Roman Polanski's house. So he made that film, and then one night he went out, and the Manson family, of Charles Manson fame, the Manson family went to his house while he was out and murdered his wife, his pregnant wife, Sharon Tate, in a ritualistic satanic murder. So you make a film about a ritualistic satanic murder involving a woman and a baby, and then your wife and her baby get murdered in a ritualistic satanic murder while you're out of the house. I'm not suggesting he had anything to do with it. I'm just saying that is a crazy, crazy coincidence. That those two things should happen in connection with the same person. And the connections that I draw are really just to show that this is actually a club. It's a society. That's why Whoopi Goldberg won't criticise them. That's why these people stand up and applaud the Roman Polanskis of the world and the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, because it's a club that protects itself. You know, I don't care who you are. Can you help me? If you can, then I'll protect you. And it's incestuous, it's disgusting, and it needs to be stopped. But does that mean we can't enjoy the work that they've done? I don't know. I'll leave that down to the Power Hour people. You can let me know. I'll see you soon on the Power Hour. Stay powerful. Bobby Amp.